Hi, this is John at Cross of Life, here to tell you how to use the new template creator for leading worship at Contemporary Worship. When you receive the new template creator, there will be a spreadsheet. The church will send it to you via email, and it will say template creator and then a hyphen and then the date. You'll open this file, and it will open in Excel. And your very first step is to go up to the top here where it says security warning, macros have been disabled, and click enable content. This will enable the spreadsheet to do a lot of fancy stuff that I'll talk about later. Once that's clicked, you go to the options page. The spreadsheet has three different areas. The first is this options page that we're on here, which basically has all of the different components of the service, and then options and written in parts that those can be. It also has a legend up here to help you see which groups of people or individuals choose each of these areas. The second area is the Leader's Guide itself, which grabs options from that options page and then pulls in content based on those to create a complete Leader's Guide. The third area is all the content. For each area of the service, each category of element, we have a content page that stores all of the suggested content for each component. So for example, these are all our call to worships that we have provided, opening prayers, statement of faith, confession, and then a couple things to control the scripture for the week and the prayers, offering statements, communion, and so on. So the first thing you need to do when you receive this, besides clicking on that Enable Macro button, is to go through and look at these yellow boxes, which are the worship leaders' choices of content. These first two are just placeholders to tell you that you need to write this on the final leader's guide. They're not actually things you can choose from. So your first box you're going to click on over here says which statement of faith. Now this will change depending on what this column is. In this case, for this week, worship planning has selected that we're going to do a statement of faith. If we were doing an opening prayer, it would say which opening prayer. So it says statement of faith, and we're going to go over here and click on this box. When you click on the cell, you can see that this arrow appears to the right. If you click on it, it shows you a drop-down box which has all the options of statement of faith. These correspond to what is on the content tab down here below. So if you go down to the bottom of the screen and click statement of faith, you can see all of these that we have provided. You'll notice that each content area has a left column which has the names, which is usually just numbered categories, and then the content in the cell next to it on the right. So you're going to read through these, pick which one you like, and then use the name that's on the left. So if I like this Statement of Faith by St. Francis of Assisi, I see that that name that corresponds with it is Statement of Faith 4. So I'm going to go back to the options page and click on the box and go down to Statement of Faith 4. And we're done with that box. We go to our next yellow box, which is asking whether we want to write our own prayers of the people or use the pre-written ones that the office sends out each week. In this case, let's just use the pre-written ones, and the Excel spreadsheet will automatically grab those based on date. Our next yellow box is offering statement. Again, it's a drop-down box, so we can choose to write our own or choose from the provided ones here. And we would go to the offering tab at the bottom and choose which one we like. Notice that one of these is just especially for Epiphany or Christmas because it talks about the wise men as an example of offering. So we don't want to use that one because we're in March. Let's choose to write our own offering statement this time. So we're going to go back and choose write our own, write your own. And then the only other yellow box on this page is the dismissal box. This is a direct text input box, which will go feed directly into the leader's guide. So there's no choice here. You just type in what you want it to say. For right now, it starts with our generic, go in peace, serve the Lord. Since we're focusing on God's mercy and grace up here in the theme box, we're going to put forgiven and free. Let us go in peace to serve the Lord. Or whatever you want to put that goes along with the service. So we've got information in all of our boxes now on this page. So we're going to head over to the Leader's Guide, which is the second tab at the bottom. Notice that we've got some orange boxes and then some content that's been filled in by our choices. So for the orange boxes, they either tell you that you've forgotten to click something on the options page or that you need to fill in some information yourself. In this case, we're going to fill in what we're going to say as our welcome, but it's very important that you don't actually write on this part of the Excel spreadsheet at all. Because this page uses a lot of formulas, as you can see up here in this particular box, to grab dynamic content, if you were to type in there, you would get really confused and it would mess up how the spreadsheet works. So we're not actually going to type in this page, we're just going to look at it, be sure all of the components are there, and then move it into Word so that we can actually work with it. You'll see that it automatically populates all the song titles and things like that. In this case, Pastor Terri is going to start off the welcome, since we're not doing announcements, and then she would hand it off to the worship leader, and we would introduce ourselves and introduce the service. As we go on through the service, here's another example of something we want to put into our own words. So that box is colored orange. Here's our statement of faith that we talked about earlier, that we pulled in. You'll notice that it has these braces and that the bold and red text are missing. This is a limitation of Excel because of how it pulls information from one area to another. It doesn't pull the formatting. So we're going to fix that in a second. Here's our sermon text, our children's sermon. There are our prayers. Notice that not all the prayers are showing up here because of the height of the cell. If you want them to show up, you can pull this cell down or double click on the edge of it and it'll automatically size itself. We're going to shrink this cell down a little bit so that it doesn't make our Word document look crazy. Here, notice that even in the prayers, they're still not all showing up, but I can't actually move the height of the cell anymore. But all of that text will still show up in Word because Word doesn't have that limitation. So everything looks good except for our formatting here. So we're going to scroll up to the top, click on Format Texts, which is a button that reads, looks at all these cells and tries to tell whether they should be bolded or red or what have you. Click on that. And now our creed is bolded properly. Our prayers have the right colors. Cool. The next button up at the top is undo formatting, which you would need to do if you wanted to go back and change one of these boxes like the creed. Because we've altered the content of this cell now, it's not doing its magic stuff. So if you wanted to go back and change it, say to the Apostles' Creed, we're going to go over here and pick Statement of Faith 1. You notice that this doesn't actually change. So if we go to undo formatting, that'll restore the proper formulas to the cell, and now we see that that is the correct text, and now we need to go back and format it again. And now everything is good as gold. The last step on this page is to hit this Copy Leader's Guide button. It'll automatically select the whole page and copy it for you. So all you have to do is open a blank Word document and paste it in. Voila. Because of the way the page is set up, it often pushes all this stuff to the right. So if you click in this little area where the title is and go up to that little thatched space up there, you can move the margin of the page and move the columns of the table over to get a more centered look. Now we're pretty much all done. We still have these orange areas that we need to tend to. So if I'm going to say, hi, my name is John, and I'll be your worship leader today, you would type that in, and then once you're done with the cell, click on it, and you can change the shading away from the orange by clicking on this paintbrush, or the paint bucket right there, to take away the shading. If you need to alter the size of cells, you can find the edge of them by using your mouse until it turns into the little horizontal line tool, and just move it up. If you, for some reason, want to highlight your parts, you can move your mouse until you get this little diagonal arrow, and then either click on this highlight text color, or you can highlight the whole box like that. So here we have the passing of the piece. We're going to delete that suggestion and say, everyone here is a friend, so let's pass the piece. And then click until we move our mouse until we find that diagonal arrow and change the shading with the paint bucket. That's basically it. Once you're done editing this leader's guide, we're going to want to sort of tweak the formatting a little bit and make sure everything is okay here at church. So once you're done editing all these orange boxes, if you will please send it back to Pastor Terry and I, and we will distribute it around to the people who need it. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.